Hello and welcome guys. So once again, let's continue working on our materials. I will switch over to the shading tab first and then we can go over to viewport shading. And let's start by working on the building material right over here. Select the building, click on new and rename this material to just building. Now once again, I will be just simply using the ground texture again that we used right over here. So just press Shift A and search for image texture. And on this image texture, just click over here and select the ground texture. So if you plug this in right now into your base color of the principal BSDF, we get something like this, which is not the desired result at all. So how we can fix something like this? First, what we can do is select it, press Ctrl plus T to bring the mapping and the texture coordinate. And you will notice that if we like change the scale to, let's say, something like 5 for all three of the axes, the texture does get like fixed up in some of the areas. But over here, as you can see, and over these areas, it is looking like pretty stretched and weird. So it is not like working right at all. So we can either try to fix it by like, let's say using some different type of texture coordinate. Let's say if we use generated, so we are getting something like this. So obviously this won't work. We can try normal and so on and so forth. We can try like different texture coordinates, but I don't think any of them are seem to be working. So let's plug this back into UV only. So now the only way that we can fix this is that we can manually UV unwrap this to get the proper UVs for this particular object, and then it would be able to get like proper texture mapping. So go over here in the UV editing tab, and for this it is pretty basic and simple. I won't be doing like too much. You don't have to like do any advanced UV manipulations like adding seams or anything like that, as it is a simple like cube object. So just select it, press Ctrl A, apply the scale, and we can just simply press tab, go into the edit mode, press A to select everything. And these are like the current UV islands. So press U to UV unwrap this, go to unwrap and select cube projection. Because as this is like a cube type object, I can select cube projection for this and it will work perfectly. Now if you will look at your material, it is uniform all along the cube and we are getting like proper textures. There is like no such thing as the stretching of textures going on, and everything is looking pretty good. So we can come back to shading now, and first let's start by rotating it on the Z axis by 90 degrees so that we have something like this. And then I will also reduce the scale to something like, let's say, first let's try 1. So 1 is definitely too big, so we can try 2. Yeah, I think 2 feels a lot natural. Yeah, even 3 feels like kind of repetitive, so I will go with 2 or maybe something in between like 2.5. But yeah, for now 2 is I think pretty good. Let's just hit save. And we have like our basic ground texture now properly working with the like building. So that is like the first step. The next is to obviously adjust the colors a bit better, because obviously right now it is matching like not at all with the overall environment vibe and the look. It is looking pretty weird, as it is looking like really dirty, and we need to like kind of make it lighten up a little bit so that it matches with the overall vibe of the environment, which is kind of like looking pretty clean. So we definitely want like some grunges here and there, but not this much. So to fix this, we can either use this with like a mix color node, or we can simply use it with the color ramp as well. I can show you with both of them. It works in pretty much the same way. So let's just first plug this into a color ramp and plug this into base color. And now to make it like overall lighten up a little bit. So now just select this black pointer, and we don't really have to like move it around. Just place it over here on the left side corner only. Just click on the color. And as you make this color a bit lighter, you will see like the overall lightness of the like texture is also changing. So we can set this to something like 0.5, and you can see it will make the like overall texture look pretty light. And we can also get like similar results by using like a mix color node as well. So if I plug this into a mix color node, this time I just have to plug this into the factor, and we can choose the same A and B colors as they were over here at the both points. So set this one to completely white, and this can be at somewhere around 0.5, which is already there by default. Now plug this into the result, and we basically get like the same results. So we can do the same thing by using the mix color node or the color ramp as well. So now the only like difference between the two would be if you want to like make this texture more complex, like let's say you want to add in like something like a noise texture as well, and you have to plug this into the A and B over here of the mix node to make it like even more like detailed. As you can see, now we have like this texture and we have layered the noise on top of it along with a tint of like any color, any chosen color from over here. We can do like these sorts of things with like the mix node, as we can plug in like different image inputs or like node inputs into the A and B slots over here. But with color ramp, we can just basically use this as like colors only. We can add in like multiple different colors over here to make it like even more like kind of diverse and have a little bit more color variation. You can do these sorts of things with using color ramp. So now what I will do is I will be going with the mix color node only, as I think it gives us with a lot more options to like experiment with our material. So we can just hold alt and disconnect the color ramp, and we can just keep it in our material only but not really use it. Delete the noise texture, press shift A and search for mix color node, and just plug the color into factor and plug the result into base color, and just choose one of the colors as completely white like this, and the second color should be at 0.5 value, just to make it like a little bit lighter, as you can see. Then to add a bit more variation into our material, select the mix node, press shift plus D to duplicate, and again plug this in once again. Now what this will do is this will be acting as like the overall hue for our like material. We can easily like control what type of like color for the paint we want to go for this building, and this mix color node would be responsible for that. So I will be going with something like light yellowish beige type of color, and I think this would work pretty well. And now we can control like the factor. So if we set the factor to something like 0, that means it is totally taking the A input. So that's why we are getting the earlier material only. Nothing really is being added on. But now if we like keep on increasing the factor, this B input would also be mixed in with the A input. So basically if we set this to 1, it is completely like the solid color, whatever we have chosen like right over here. So I will be going with something simple. So I can just quickly like copy up the hex code. If you want to do the same, you can copy mine from over here. So this is something that I would be going for, and we can set the factor to something pretty light, 0.2. So this was like our earlier material, and this is it now. So just to make it like a little bit lighter as well, and to introduce like a little bit of color, you can increase like the saturation to add in like more color. Maybe I will increase it a little bit more. And for now, I think this is pretty good. Let's press F11 to see our older render. So this was something like it. Press J to switch between the slots, press F12. And this is something that we have got going on right now. I think it fits the overall vibe of the environment a lot more. And obviously we will be adding some more things to it to make it fit in a lot better. The saturation can be fine at 0.3, I think. Let's hit save and continue working. Now, one other thing that I will be adding in this material is that it is kind of lacking like a little bit of ambient occlusion. So I will show you what that means. So basically press Shift A and search for an ambient occlusion node. And now plug this color into surface. I have taught you like the shortcut, so you can hold Control Shift and left click. And we have something like this. So the ambient occlusion will basically darken up your corners. Like you can see, if you adjust the distance, you can see it is like kind of trying to darken the areas like around the bottom, and wherever we have like objects close to each other, kind of like trying to replicate wherever dust would be collected. So it is like a really nice thing which adds like a nice bit of like dust effect into your like material. So how we can like add this thing into our material? It's pretty simple. Once again, we will be press Shift D on the mix color node, so that we have another mix color node, and plug the result of this one to A and the ambient occlusion into factor, and then plug the result into base color, and then obviously plug this into surface to see how it looks. So right now everything is yellowish because I think we have flipped the A and the B. So disconnect it from A and plug this into B rather. And now we get something like this. Let's just set this to completely black, so at least we know that it is working. So yeah, now you can see the ambient occlusion is working, as we are getting like this dirt like thing in the corners and like the over these areas of our building wherever things are like close to each other. You can see the ladder part is also reacting to it. If I just select the ladder and kind of move it away, that dust thing goes off. So I think it is like a really nice addition to our material. So we can set the distance to something like 0.75 maybe, because obviously we don't want it to be too much. And the color once again can be like a little bit more lighter than black, not like totally black like this. Yeah, I will also select the ladder that we have over here and bring it like a little bit more towards the out. So press G and Y so that it does not create like a very huge dark spot right over here. Now let's press 0 to go through our camera view. Press F11. So this was like our older render from which we want to compare to. So press J so that we are in this one. Now press F12 so that this render gets replaced, and now you can press J to like compare between the two. And as you can see, the ambient occlusion, although it is pretty subtle, it does add like a nice bit of like effect into your material, giving you that dust kind of look, which I think is like a nice bit of addition. And with this, I think the building is really matching with the overall vibe of the environment. So I think it is looking pretty good. Let's just hit save. And one more thing that I want to do is select the building, press tab, press Ctrl R. I will enable edge length and press Ctrl R and add an edge loop right over here at the bottom, just so we can make it like of a different color. This way we will add like a little bit of color variation as well into our building, and it will like mesh in with the environment really well. So first let's create like a separate material. So add a new material slot and give it the same material as this building only. But make sure to click on this 2, basically making it a separate material from the earlier one, because we will be changing the color for this. So let's just rename this to building underscore blue, because I will be giving it like a blue material. Now select it, select your building, press tab and hold alt and select this complete loop. We can disable edge length and just select the building underscore blue and hit assign. Now this complete part has like a separate material. Right now we cannot really see it because both of them are exactly the same. But if you remember, this particular mix node was for changing the hue or the overall like color of the material. So we are changing the tint of the material using this, and you will notice when I change this, it is updating right over here. So this adds like a nice bit of variation into our environment. So if it is not really sure, you can just change the color of it first and then press tab, hold alt, select it all completely. Select the building underscore blue material and make sure to hit assign. This way it will have this completely separate color. And for this one, as I said, I will be going for like a bluish kind of color. Yeah, something like that. And you can see it is kind of like pretty faint right now. So if you increase like this factor value from over here, make sure to not increase it to 1 or like maybe a high number, because it will totally take away all of the like details as well. So if you want to keep in the details but add in more color, instead of changing the like color over here, change it up over here. This way you can add like more color variation or like add in more color without actually removing any of the like details of your environment. But I won't be doing that because I think this fits in like a lot better with the overall vibe of the environment, and I like this a lot more. Let's press 0 to look at it. Press F11, and once again, this was our current render and this is our older render. So press F12 for this one, and yeah, now you can just press J to switch between the renders. And I personally think it is like a nice bit of addition with the like added color variation. I do think that the blue is a little too faint, so I will switch it up. Yeah, definitely not for this one. Let's do it over here a little bit. Yeah, something like this. Now let's once again compare it with this one. And yeah, as you can see, now it is like a lot more prominent. Earlier it was looking, I think, a little bit too faint. So this feels a lot better. So yeah, definitely switch up the colors over here as well to get like the proper result looking. Now let's just hit save, and I think the building is looking pretty nice as well. For the ladder, I will be using the simple iron material only. So select all of the parts and select the iron material. Press Ctrl L and link the materials. And with this, I think we can just hit save, and we're pretty much done. Let's just work on these materials, which are, I think, pretty easy to create. Select the window, create a new material, rename this to glass. And for this one, what I will do is basically set the roughness to 0, increase the transmission to 1, so that we get this sort of material. And then maybe we can change the color of it to a darker color, and also first like add it over here as well. Let's increase the roughness to something like 0.05 and decrease the transmission to 0.8. Just make the color a bit lighter and see what like kind of fits the overall vibe. All right, so yeah, I think that's fine for now. For the like other parts over here, we can just simply again click on new, rename this to window, and just give this like a darker base color. Copy it over here as well, similarly. Let's press F12 once to see how it fits. I'm not quite sure. I will select the windows and make sure to enable ray trace transmission for them. And then just select them. Let's try to switch up like the color a little bit. I don't think personally like the bright color would really fit this. I think I will just put the transmission back to 0. And yeah, I think this looks a lot better. Let's just press F12 to see how it looks. And yeah, that's fine. Let's select the window pieces and make them a little bit brighter. Yeah, that's good. I will similarly use the window material over here as well, I think. And I think we can use it for these two as well. Just select all of them and at last select this, press Ctrl L and link the materials. And with this, finally, let's just add the material to the door. Create a new material, rename this to door. And we don't really have to do too much, just create like a darker colored door. Let's hit save. First, let's press F12 to see how it looks. Yeah, I think that feels pretty good. Let's just hit save. And I do want to like detail up the door a little bit more. So I will just go to the layout section once again. Press slash, press 3 for the right side view. Go to object and set the origin to geometry. Shift plus S cursor to select it to bring the cursor right over here. And let's just press Shift A and simply add in a plane. Rotate this by 90 degrees. I will just quickly create like a very simple looking handle for this. So how we can do that? I've created this plane, scaled it down, apply the scale, press tab. Let's select this tool, press Ctrl R and add edge loop right in the middle. Hit right click and just select these two vertices, press X and delete them. And now you know the drill by now. Just add in the mirror modifier so that we can just extrude it over here like this. This way we get like a very simple looking handle. Add a solidify modifier to this to obviously give it thickness. You can see it is not really working correctly. So we can enable even thickness from over here and set this to complex. Press tab, select this edge, press Ctrl B and bevel it out. And yeah, you get like a very simple and a solid looking handle that should work for like the most part. I think it is over there on the other side, or where is it? Yeah, just bring it out over here. Rotate it by 180 degrees. Let's place it right like this. Let's see how it looks once. Scale it up a little bit. And also give it like the iron material. Let's just hit save and quickly let's just render out our scene first. I think everything looks fine for the most part. We can definitely do like some tweaks for the colors and everything at a later on stage as well. I just want to like make it up and running. Let's try placing it over here if that looks better. Press J and now press F12 to switch between the two. Yeah, personally, I think the handle looks a lot better over here on this side. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it is looking now. I think we have done pretty good with the materials. I think overall everything is coming along pretty nicely. And yeah, I think it is a pretty long video now. So we are pretty much done with the materials as well. We will be working a little bit on compositing and rendering out the final renders. And we will also be creating like a variation of this scene where we will be creating it in a night time. So yeah, I hope to see you there in the next lectures. Thank you guys for watching.